All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan, and I'm the lead pastor and executive director here. This is Carrie. She is the associate executive director here. Welcome to all of you here in person. Welcome to all of you joining us online. We're glad you're part of this community. And to remind you, this is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. What we do here is break the silence of addiction while creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. There's always one thing we don't do. Y'all can shout it out. On the count of three, Mark, are you ready for this? 1, 2, 3. We don't do shame, but Carrie's going to tell you some things that are coming up, starting with make us laugh, Carrie.
I'm not going to make you laugh.
Well, tell us about the thing that's going to make us laugh.
I can get someone to make you laugh. But first, if you are new with us, welcome. We are glad that you're here, and we would love to get to know you. Just outside of these bags after service, we can...
Doors.
I made you laugh. My job is done. You're welcome. My goodness, friends.
Been a long night already.
And we haven't even started. Okay, slow down. Hi. If you are new with us, come and say hello to us after service. I will give you a bag, and inside of the bag, you'll find some fresh roasted Wagon coffee from the extraordinary Tammy Candidate and her ladies at Wagon Coffee, as well as some free swag and our card to sign up for our newsletter. Inside of that bag, there's a QR code. If you scan it, you can sign up for our newsletter. You'll find out who the guest storyteller is each week and all of the different events that we have coming up. You guys know that every single week I encourage you guys to get on that newsletter. It really does help stay connected, find out what's going on around here, because we have a lot coming up this week. This coming Thursday, Second Chance Comedy. If you guys remember Joe Huseman, he did the emceeing at the Sober Open Mic. I'm going to get it together, guys, some night, maybe not tonight, but it's $25. This proceeds go back to supporting our mission here at Breaking the Silence of Addiction, as well to Sobriety House. It is from 6:30. Doors open at 6. Hop on our newsletter, find out more. Tickets are still available, but seats are limited, so go ahead and sign up. We also have... See, I was getting confused. So this is Saturday 1st. So next Saturday, if you guys have kids or know anyone who does and participates in our child programming, Nancy Martin, who is our therapist who rents the space down at the end of the building, she is putting together an extraordinary program where she is meeting or merging with Hazelton Betty Ford, and they're going to come in twice a month. It's the first and the third Saturday of each month. It's completely free, and she's going to provide resources to children and families. So whoever, that doesn't have to be a parent, it could be whoever the caregiver is. Meals will be provided. So in between service from 6 to 7, you'll learn some resources of how to better co-regulate with your children and learn some more resources of how to be a better sober caregiver in recovery. And it's completely free. You do not need to register, but if you have any questions, you can also find this on our news or on our website under events, but also you can email Nancy Martin, and her email is on the flyer. And she can answer any questions you guys may have. And then the following day, so next Sunday, is the Super Bowl.
Go Broncos.
No Broncos.
No, the Broncos didn't make it.
Seahawks and Patriots.
We're going to show up, right, y'all? We're going to show up.
But I hear that more people actually want to come, that it's not the Broncos, because I feel like that's what I heard, because they're like, oh, it was the Broncos. They don't want to get distracted. They want to but here, this is if you're not a Broncos fan, come and hang out. There's food. And there's it's sponsored by T-Pass, which is...
Where's Brian Koontz? Brian Koontz, Treatment Professionals. Alumni Services.
Yes.
It's going to be a good time. Pizza's provided, snacks. It's 220-inch screen, Super Bowl. It's going to be a good time.
Cafe will be open until halftime.
Yes.
And that's it.
All right, we'll see you then, Carrie.
Yeah, no, you won't, but I'll see you later.
I'll be here. All right, y'all, before we get started with celebrations, well, this is a celebration. Yeah, you're going to give that mic to David. I want to let you all know about something we're doing here. We've been in conversation, Carrie and I have been in conversation with Dr. Corey Latta. Do you all remember Dr. Corey Latta? He preached here this summer. He's been a guest storyteller here. Anyway, Corey, we're bringing him on board. Now, he lives all the way out in Memphis, Tennessee. There's a whole backstory to this, but I had a conversation with him. I said, dude, would you be willing to come out here like, I don't know, every 6 to 8 weeks and bring a message to us? Corey is a therapist. He's also got theological training. Anyway, he's going to come out here every 6 to 8 weeks throughout 2026, bring the message. He's also going to be leading some online gatherings, some classes. He does all the inner childhood work, therapist stuff. He's going to be so good. The title we gave Corey, we didn't know what to call him. Corey, if you're watching, man, we had to come up with this together, but he's resident teaching pastor. So excited to have Corey join us. Let me read this to you. I won't read the whole CV. This dude has an extensive CV. But Dr. Corey Latta is a therapist who loves to work with individuals, couples, families, even organizations who feel like they've lost their way due to addiction, trauma, or just a sense of purposelessness. By the way, Corey is one of us. He's in recovery. In addition to his LPC, that's his therapy stuff, Corey holds a Bachelor of Arts in Biblical Studies, a Master of Arts in the New Testament Studies, a Master of Arts in English, a PhD in English, jeez, I'm already exhausted, and a Master of Arts in Counseling. So it's going to be so good to have Corey on board. Welcome, Corey Latta. We're excited to have you, and we will see him in February. He'll be joining us. All right, y'all, shall we begin with celebrations? Yes, the correct answer to that is yes. It's how we start here on a Saturday night. Maybe you're here and you're celebrating a sobriety anniversary or a birthday or whatever the new thing in your life or recovery is. We celebrate it all here. Nothing too big or too small. If you're joining us online, drop them in the YouTube comments. Drop your celebrations in the Facebook comments, whichever platform you're joining us from. For those of you in-house, Saman has a mic on this side, and David has a mic on this side. Just raise up your hand, give us the good news, and we'll take 3 minutes for this. This time is yours. Ooh. Wow. Shocker.
I'm Colin. I'm just starting 4 weeks of PHP, 8 weeks of IOP at a world-class trauma treatment center, and I'm so grateful and relieved that I have access to this treatment and I can continue to heal.
All right, Colin, we're going to celebrate that, dude. Way to go, buddy.
I'm Shantae, and I'm at Sobriety House. I just graduated my first phase this last Monday, and I'm also 37 days sober. So.
All right, Shantae, we'll celebrate it. Congratulations.
Okay, and my name is David, and this month I'm celebrating 8 years of family recovery.
All right, David. 8 years, man.
My name's Willow, and I'll have 11 months clean and sober on Tuesday.
Willow, congratulations. Glad you're here.
Hi, I'm Ann Taylor, alcoholic, and this month I celebrated 36 years.
All right, 36 years. That's a long time. Good start. Keep coming back.
I'm Jason. I just want to give a shout out to Carrie, who did a great job giving us the message on January 10th.
Oh, we'll celebrate that, Carrie.
Hi everyone, my name is Saman. No Francis, but on Thursday I will have 9 years of sobriety, and Brian keeps letting me come back to speak at Harmony, so I'll be speaking there next weekend.
All right, Saman, happy almost 9 years.
I'm Catherine, and I would like to celebrate that we are going on a cruise this week. And I am very excited, a Narcotics Anonymous cruise, so that will be fun.
All right, NA cruise. Enjoy it, y'all.
I'm Lawrence, and I celebrated 2 months sober this week.
All right, 22 months, Lawrence. Way to go, dude. Congratulations.
My name is Mark, and I'm celebrating 842 days clean and sober off meth and fentanyl, and I'm finally back here in person at Free without having to be online.
There you go, Mark. Good to see you in person, buddy.
My name is Josh. I made it through double hernia surgery last week, which was good because at the same time I got admitted into the MDiv program at ILIF School of Theology.
JD! Way to go, dude. Is that it? We're out of time? That went fast. Saman, you want to join me up here? Thank you, David and Saman. Because usually Tammy would join me up here, but she's in San Diego with the girls because Shiloh has a gymnastics meet. But I think she's watching online, and I'm going to celebrate her for a moment. She had some big news this week. Wagon Coffee is now in. She's breaking out to the hotel industry. She's in the Raleigh Hotel downtown, right across from Coors Field. So if you go stay at the Raleigh Hotel, you can wake up and have a K-cup of Wagon Coffee, and it's also served in their restaurant there, and she's all kinds of excited about this. It's a big move for her. So way to go, Tammy. We'll celebrate it. All right, you want to take the first one online?
Sure. AJ says, my name is AJ, and I'm 62 days sober. That's awesome.
Way to go, AJ. Happy 62 days. Renee says, next week I will celebrate 6 months clean and sober. Happy 6 months to you, Renee.
That's a big deal.
Yes, it is.
Tammy Lord. Hi, Tammy. My mom's procedure went well this week. Yay.
We'll celebrate
That's
that,
awesome.
Tammy Lord.
Yep.
Tammy Kennedy. Ooh, she says, oh, she's going to rub it in my face. She's got palm trees and 80-degree weather. Enjoying sunny Cali with my girls. Shy did great at her gymnastics meet today, too.
Yay.
All right, we're going to
Awesome.
celebrate it, Tammy.
Good job, Shy.
Miss you all. See you soon. Is that it? That's it. Thank you, Simon, for being with us. Want me to take that from you? Oh, yeah, we can just put it here. All right, y'all, we're in the last week of this Hero's Journey series. Oh, I didn't tell you. Next week, we're starting a series. It's February, so we're going to cover the 4 loves. Have y'all ever read C.S. Lewis, The 4 Loves? Yeah, he talks about 4 loves. Dr. Corey Latta is actually a C.S. Lewis scholar, so he's going to have something to say about that, but we're going to start that next week. This week is the last week of the Hero's Journey, and let's explore together what it looks like for you, me, us to return to some healthy rhythms in our life. Here's the video.
Every hero's journey begins with a truth you can no longer ignore. A quiet whisper that grows into a roar. You feel the pull to leave the old life behind, to step away from the familiar and comfortable. It's that moment you decide to step into the unknown. You take a breath, and you trust that something bigger, something more powerful, will carry you forward. This isn't just about self-help or small changes. This is about transformation. This is about death and rebirth. It's the journey of letting go of who you were, so you can become who you were always meant to be. This is the hero's journey.
All right, y'all, I was recently listening to a podcast, and the guest was the music artist Jelly Roll. Y'all know Jelly Roll. If you don't know about Jelly Roll of like his recent life, well, he's sober now. He's recently lost like a ton of weight in the healthy way. He's lost 275 pounds. I don't even know if he's Jelly Roll anymore. In fact, when he went on this podcast, the one who was interviewing him started by saying, dude, you don't even look like you anymore. You are like a totally different person. To which Jelly Roll responds, he said, I don't want to get super spiritual right out the gate, but I will because I think God wants me to right now. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, in Christ all things are a new creation, and that's not about restoring the old. It says that in God we are a completely new creation. And y'all, for many of us in this room, for many watching tonight, in recovery, we are returning to life. You're returning as a new creation, which means you are coming back to life not as the old you, but a completely new you. Now, here's the problem of the return, the problem of new creation. And I see this happen all the time, especially in early recovery. In fact, I was guilty of this around year 3. It happened for me. But it's this mindset that says, okay, I'm going to do it all. No, I'm going to do it all. And I think the thinking behind it is, man, we've wasted so much time and so many years in active addiction. I'm going to do it all, and I'm going to do it all now. I'm going to start that business. I'm going to take on that project. I'm going to start my TikTok page because y'all know I got to start influencing people. And I'm going to be the best parent the world has ever seen. And I got to heal all the places that have been broken. And are you exhausted? Are you exhausted? Let me ask it this way. Does anyone here have a difficult time slowing down in their day-to-day life? Yeah, no, I know y'all can't relate to this one at all. I struggle with this stuff. I struggle with it. I'll preach to myself tonight. In fact, my family can tell you all about this one. Just recently, you know what my wife says to me, Tammy? She's watching right now. She says to me, we were in the airport. She says, you know what your problem is? No, please tell me what's my problem. She says, your nervous system can't tell the difference between being in an airport and being chased by a bear. And it's totally true. I don't know why. I get in the airport, and I start walking like this. It's almost a run. And then I look back, and the family is like a half mile behind me. I'm like, why can't y'all keep up? And then here's the thing. You actually get on vacation, and you're supposed to relax. You're supposed to slow down, find a new rhythm. And for the first 2 days, my mind tells me, no, Ryan, you got to see it all, you got to do it all, and you got to do it now. It takes me till about the 3rd day to where I can ease into it, slow down, find a new rhythm. Let me ask you this. Anyone here struggle to slow down when it comes to the spiritual life? Yeah, I struggle with this stuff. Maybe you got clean and sober. And maybe you did it through the 12 steps and you did the right thing. You got a sponsor, but everything in your mind told you to just fly through these steps so that you can be done and be healed. And this was me with my sponsor. My question was, how quickly can we get through? Because if we can do that, then I'm done, I'm healed. Even if you're not a 12-stepper, maybe you rushed through your healing so you could just arrive and be done. Or maybe somewhere along the way you had all kinds of questions about the God stuff and faith and spirituality. And these questions, it had a way of raising within you all kinds of discomfort. And instead of sitting with that discomfort, you instead went to those quick and easy answers so you didn't have to experience any pain. Or maybe you thought it was about running with God. But isn't it interesting? Every spiritual tradition talks not about running with God, but walking with God. There's a book I would recommend to you. It's written by a guy by the name of John Mark Comer. He wrote a great book. It's titled The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. In this book, he tells the story of his mentor who has a conversation with his mentor, who was Dallas Willard, a philosopher, well known for his work in spiritual formation. And this mentor asks his mentor, he says, what must I do to become the me that I want to be? And there was a long pause. And Dallas Willard responds, he says, you must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. And the guy says, well, that's great, I get that. But what else must I do to become the me I want to become? And there was another long pause. And Dallas Willard responds with, there is nothing else. Hurry is the great enemy of spiritual life in our day. You must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. And my brothers and sisters, you are a new creation. What would it look like for you not to be forced to slow down? Because you do know life will have a way of forcing you into it. You're just going about your normal day-to-day activities, and you wake up that morning and boom, you have the flu, and you're going to slow down. You're going to find a new rhythm. Or you're going about your day-to-day activities, and you hit up the doctor's office, and he says to you, we're going to take the gallbladder out. Well, when's this going to happen, doc? This week, in 2 days, and boom, you are going to slow down. But what would it look like for you not to be forced to slow down, but to actually choose a practice of changing your rhythm? So here's what I want to do with you for the next just couple of minutes. There's this fascinating ancient law that I want to show you. And this ancient law is found in the Old Testament book, or the Hebrew Bible book, called Leviticus. Some of you are thinking, no, that's the most boring book in the Bible, and I would beg to differ with you. But it goes, if you're a bit fuzzy, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and the backstory to this one ancient law is, you might remember in the book of Exodus, God says to Moses, Moses, I've heard the cries of my people. The Israelites are being held in slavery in Egypt under the power of Pharaoh, and I've heard them. And Moses, I want you to go rescue them from Egypt and lead them out of slavery, out of that land, that foreign land, and lead them into a new land. And after a lot of hesitation, Moses finally goes and he rescues them from Egypt, and they're wandering around in the wilderness for a long time before they get to the new land. And by the way, you do know, if you were in recovery, you too were once in slavery, and you too were rescued, heading towards a new land. And God says to Moses, Moses, I want you to be sure and tell the people this. When you enter the land I am giving you, and here's the ancient law, for 6 years you should plant crops on your land and gather in its produce, but in the 7th year, there shall be a Sabbath of complete rest for the land. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Keep in mind, in the ancient world, a very agricultural setting, everything revolved around the land. I mean, they had to plant and harvest, and this was literally their food. Everything revolved around the land. And then this law comes along and says, hold up, though. In the 7th year, you don't plant your crops. In the 7th year, you don't pick the crops. You don't harvest the food. In the 7th year, you do nothing. You let the whole thing rest. And here's what's fascinating. These laws in Leviticus 25, there's a word for them. They are called, it's this Hebrew word, Shemitah. Say it with me, Shemitah. It's a fun word to say, isn't it? Shemitah. Shemitah literally means to release. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because a release of the land, you're releasing the land of its need to provide for you. Let it rest. Let it rest. Like in the 7th year, let the land be free so it can renew, restore. Because if you don't, well, the land will be depleted. It's this 6-in-1 rhythm. In the 7th year, the nutrients of the soil, they get renewed so that they can restore, and it's so that the land can continue producing in the future so that food can grow for another 6 years. Here's what else is interesting. It's not just about the land resting, but you get the rest too. So in the 6th year, what would happen is you would pick all the food. You would store up some food so that you would have food to eat in the 7th year. But in the 7th year, not only does the land get rest, but you don't have to plant. You don't have to harvest. And I pointed out to say, think how radical this idea, this one law would have been for these former slaves. I mean, think of how they might have protested against that. Now, we don't need rest. No, God, what you got to understand is we're good workers. We're hard workers. In Egypt, we didn't get rest. Pharaoh made us work all the time. We were bricklayers for Pharaoh. It was one brick after another. In fact, God, let me tell you, our worth was dependent on what we could do, how much we could produce. We don't know what rest is. We don't really even have a familiarity with rest. So how are we supposed to rest? That's not who we are. And this God comes along and says, no. Rest is baked into the whole thing. You are going to have to learn to rest. Interesting, isn't it? There's like these rhythms that are built into creation. There's these rhythms that are built into the soil, and there's a rhythm that your mind, body, and spirit and heart craves to live by. And pay attention to this in your life. What happens when we don't honor those rhythms? Do you ever notice how the thing, it starts to unravel? Yeah. This happened in 2021. The thing started to unravel in here. Some of y'all know exactly what it's like. In 2021, we moved into this new building. November 1st, we moved into this building, and we took 30 days to totally renovate this space and do remodeling. And it was like a time of absolute beautiful chaos. We took over in November, then we opened for our first Saturday night service in this new building the first week in December. In November, we were here like every single day, all day long. We did paint outside, paint inside. We did new flooring, new lights, built out the cafe. A beautiful mess, 250 volunteers in here. And man, I have to tell you, I was really tired. I was depleted. I didn't even know this was a thing. They call it decision fatigue. You ever heard of this? I was so tired of making decisions. I don't care what color you paint it anymore. I don't care where you put that piece of furniture. By early 2022, I realized, man, this thing is not sustainable. The way Ryan's doing life, this is not sustainable. As some of y'all know, since we started free, I always took Fridays and stayed at home to work on my message for Saturday nights. But what I realized in early 2022 was I need another day to be at home to catch up on some of the back-end work. Like when I'm here at Free, I'm hanging out with people, and I love that part of my job, but I also need to get some back-end work done. And so I built Wednesdays into the schedule. I had to develop a new rhythm. In your life, you might have to find these new rhythms to live by. Sundays in the Canada household, this is like, it's family day for us. It's a day of rest. Oftentimes we do nothing but lay on the couch and watch movies or go to Breck's basketball games. It's family day. And then what happens is summer, if you have kids, you can relate. Summer comes along and you have to find a totally different rhythm to live by because the whole thing changes, and we can always establish these new rhythms. But do you see, how do you know when you're not honoring those rhythms in your life? Be careful with this one. Here's how it works in my life. Maybe it works in your life this way. Despair will start to set in. What's despair look like? Despair has you asking the questions of, man, does any of this matter? I mean, like, does my work in the world matter? Because today seems a lot like yesterday, and I bet tomorrow's going to feel like today, and the 6-in-1 rhythm comes along, and it saves us from despair. It says something new can happen. But do you see, when we don't give our minds and bodies and hearts the rest that they need to be restored, then they can't give us what they need to give us. Does that make sense? Like, in other words, if you don't live with a rhythm in your life, then you will always be asking yourself to give yourself something that you can't give you. And you are a new creation. You are heading towards a new land. And what would it look like for you not to be forced into slowing down, but to choose a practice of changing your rhythm? Like, if you are irritable, if you're hypersensitive, if you're exhausted, if you're emotionally numb, it might be time to change your rhythm. And if you're struggling with knowing what to do or how exactly to change your rhythm, well, let me offer to you 3 simple but not always easy ideas. You could probably add a whole host of ideas to these 3 simple ideas, but let's start somewhere. Number 1, release the need to be everywhere and everything. Yeah, Shmita, release yourself. You can do it. Because isn't it interesting? Some of us return to life a completely new you, and you immediately said yes to everything. Not because it was good and healthy, but it felt safer than being still. So you said yes to everything. And you don't have to do that. There's another way to live. You can find a new rhythm. Do you know when we started Free in 2018? Well, this interesting thing happened. I remember 2018, Christmas was starting to roll around and my anxiety went up. Christmas Eve was coming. And the same thing happened in 2019. Christmas is coming and Christmas Eve is coming. And what my mind told me was, Ryan, you've got to overfunction. You've got to prove that Free is good. So you got to put on the best Christmas Eve service. You got to give the best Christmas Eve message. And yet everything in my body, everything in my bones was saying, no. You don't have to play that game anymore, Ryan. You don't have to buy into the crazy busy lifestyle of Christmas. You don't have to do it. But you know, I've grown up around the church, in the church, and around the church since the time I was a little boy, and I saw this thing happen. This thing would happen where staff and many volunteers in the church, they would just be like zombies on Christmas Day because you're so worn out from all the performances you had to do the day before. And I was staff at traditional church for many years, and I was one of them, one of those zombies by Christmas Day. And do you know what happened every year? Every year, I missed Santa's footprints. If you have kids in the room, my kids are in the kids' room, so we're good here. But if you have kids in the room under the age of 10, you might want to plug their ears. I missed Santa's footprints. Because every year I was at the church till 11 o'clock, midnight, and then I'd get home, and Tammy was home with the kids. She'd have to get the kids to bed, then do all the things you got to do on Christmas Eve. And it was always my boots, still to this day, my boots get dipped in the bowl with the powdered sugar, and then the boots, you put them down like this, and it creates the footprints to the cookies on the counter. And every year I missed that. And I remember in 2019, Tammy and I had a conversation, and I said, I don't want to miss Santa's footprints anymore. I don't want to miss these moments. And we made the decision together that every year, Christmas Eve would be, for free, the Saturday before Christmas. And some people are fascinated by this. Like, when I talk to people around the country, other church leaders, they're like, wait, you don't do Christmas Eve on Christmas Eve? Now, we don't do Christmas Eve on Christmas Eve. We do it the Saturday before Christmas because we're not going to buy into the crazy, busy life of Christmas Eve because, I don't know, is that really what Jesus wants for his birthday? You see, you can always change those rhythms, and don't confuse healing with overfunctioning. I mean, this is about Shemitah for your soul, which means you don't have to respond right away. You don't have to fix everything. You don't owe everyone access to you, especially at the cost of your recovery. And number 2. Ooh, this is a tough one. Choose doing nothing at least one time every single day. Now, the goal is not to escape your life. The goal is to interrupt it long enough so that you can actually remember who you are. And I know some of you are really going to struggle with this one. And you're going to have to start somewhere. Start small. Start with 5 minutes of doing nothing. You say 5 minutes, that's way too long. Okay, start with 2 minutes. 2 minutes of sitting, doing nothing, staring out the kitchen window. And by the way, when you are doing nothing, you don't have to pray. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to overthink things. You don't have to figure it out. You can just let the land, which is your body, rest. Let it be. And I do get it. For some of us, this is really difficult because maybe you grew up in an environment where love was conditional. Yeah, you weren't taught that rest was healthy. You were taught that rest, it had to be earned. Like for you, maybe in your childhood home, love came after good grades. Love came after being strong enough. Love came after what you could produce. Love came after you not being a burden. And love was always this thing for you of, look what I've done. Do you see it now? Do you see what I've made? Do you see what I've created? Do you see what I have produced? And now nothing, it feels so uncomfortable. It is so unfamiliar. Your mind creeps up and says, yeah, but if I stop, if I slow down, I might lose love. If I slow down, I might lose safety. If I slow down, I might lose your approval and Shemitah. Yeah, release all that. You are worthy of rest. In your recovery, you are worthy of rest, and your love cannot be dependent. Your worth can't be dependent on your output. I mean, scripture after scripture tells us the story of God loves you not for what you can produce, but simply because you are. God's love for you has nothing to do with what you can or cannot do. God's love for you is because God has all kinds of kids and you are one of them. And the third thing I'll leave you with is this. Yeah, put your phone down. Yeah, seriously, put the phone down and let your body tell the truth before your mind tries to fix it. And listen, y'all, I know there's a lot happening in the world. Just break down the world. There's a lot happening in the United States of America. In recent weeks, we see Minnesota and ICE and real fear. And then you add on top of that social media. Yeah, your nervous system can get all out of whack. Your nervous system plays tricks on you. You have this anger that builds up, and you can't sleep, and then it starts to consume you, and you can't think clearly. And I do want you to know it is okay to put the phone down and make room for quiet in your life. It's absolutely essential. And be careful with this phone. Because it's okay to say, look, I've got to let the land rest, the land which is my body. I've got to let this thing and this thing restore before I can go back out there into the world and interact with actual people. And you all know how actual people are. And this phone, you have to be careful with it because this thing and all the apps on it, it will constantly scream at you and it'll tell you, you have to have an opinion on everything. And once you get that opinion, you need to let everyone know your opinion. And if they have a different opinion than you, you need to let them know that you are right and they are wrong. And how's it working for you? I mean, really, how's it working for your recovery? How's it working? Pay attention to your body. Your body will do a good job at letting you know when you're exhausted, when you're depleted, when you're a bit too amped up. I mean, the truth is, you can't do it all. You can't fix it all. The truth is, your ego will always hate you for your limits, and you, my brothers and sisters, do have limits. And we'll close with this. There's this fascinating story in Mark's gospel where Jesus was loving people and healing people and confronting a real world of injustice. And the text tells us that when the sun went down, even more people came to him. He was needed. Some of you are needed. You're needed to go out there. The more people came to him, and then we get these really interesting lines. Early in the morning, well before sunrise, Jesus rose and went to a deserted place where he could be alone in prayer. Simon and those with him tracked him down. When they found him, they told him, "Everyone's looking for you." You ever felt like that? Everyone's looking for you. You're needed. You have things to do. The world's hurting out there. Everyone's looking for you. the most spiritual thing some of you all will do this week is to find quiet, to find rest, to slow down, to change the rhythm, because you are a new creation. You are in a new land. You are a completely new you. And on the 7th year, there was a Sabbath, a complete rest for the land. So I invite you all to take a moment. If you struggle with this, reflect. Why is it so hard to slow down? This song is called I Am Light by India Ari. And just let these words, I would invite you to close your eyes. Just sit, be still, be quiet, and let these words hover. Here's I Am Light.
If you're new with us, you should know that every Saturday we invite one of the community members up into the living room to share a little bit of their story with us about the topic at hand. And this topic is absolutely perfect because this individual, I met him a little over a year ago. He had actually come to our summit, which Ryan and I, it was in April. I'm really bad with dates, guys, but I think it was April of last year. And he had actually come to this summit trying to start this new thing. And this guy came in and he had these big plans of all these things he wanted to do. And I don't even really remember telling him this, but what I had said is start where you are with everything you already have. Like, you don't have to wait until you have all those things. And so what he actually did after attending this summit is he came up to Ryan and I, and he said, you know what? I had all these big plans of this big building and this big thing. What if I start my thing here at Free? And some of you guys may not know this because a lot of what he does goes unknown to like the casual eye, but what he has done is he started the recovery garden here at Free. So he goes around and he literally works with the dirt. He literally works. He's planted flowers for us. He's weeded for us. He's created community through getting in contact with the dirt. And part of his story is about finding his higher power through literally the dirt. So this part was just absolutely fascinating. So I cannot wait for you guys to meet him. But can you please do me a favor and help welcome up Michael to the living room? I was telling him I haven't seen him till just now, so I was a little nervous that he wasn't here, but so I'm glad he came. So I'm really glad you're here. Does that work?
Test, test.
There we go. And what I love so much about my job in particular is like you have these people who are a part of our community, but I don't get to know a lot of you guys on a true one-on-one basis. And I thought this was like, I'm like, oh, let's just talk about the dirt, because I knew kind of what Ryan's message was. And I'm like, oh, perfect, you know, land and dirt and rest and all the things. And his story had so much more. And I walked away and I think I texted Ryan right after. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. So I want to get straight into it because you have so much that this, I don't know, tiny little interview is not going to do your story justice. But I want to start. So you had a pretty, you would say a pretty normal upbringing, and I know you had mentioned you had some attachment issues, which I know we've talked about attachment theory here before, but I kind of want to go a little bit to when your story started, before you ever picked up substances, you were dealing with some addiction issues that eventually led you to get substances, but can you take us back to the beginning of what it looked like in the beginning of your story to want to escape and it wanted to, like, when you didn't know how to sit with yourself, what did you do?
Sure, yeah, good question. So I think that's what I'd call codependence. That for me is the root of addiction, because when I'm codependent, I don't have access to my sacred no. I'm people pleasing. I'm not speaking my truth. I'm grinding my gears, trying to control, you know, all these things, right? And that's stressful, right? That puts a mark on my spirit and a strain on my heart and on my mind. So to cope, drugs.
If you had to really simplify what is codependency, I think it's a term that we hear a lot of, but some people may have a vague understanding of what it is. What does it mean for you in several ways? I know you mentioned people pleasing, and what other ways does it manifest? And what is an easy way to explain it to someone who doesn't know what it means?
Yeah, so when I started learning about codependency, it actually got more complicated. So I think people pleasing is a great way to put it, and the other side of that is control. Yeah, it is more complex than I realized. The typical notion of codependence is an addict and a loved one, but there's a lot of different patterns that can be there. And for me, it was a lot of just compliance, people pleasing, being easy. I had a relatively normal upbringing, but there was some dysfunction, and my brother had a lot of problems, so I was the easy child. I learned to go along to get along, take the path of least resistance. And flexibility is a great strength, but like with so many things, our strengths have, the other side of the coin. And if I'm too flexible, I'm just, I lose so much. And I learned a term, self-abandonment. A lot of people have abandonment issues, but I abandoned myself more than anyone.
And this is something that we don't often hear about spoken here in the living room, but this is something I know that people deal with secretly, and you said you were willing to talk about it, but this also led to eating issues with you as well, right? Can you talk a little bit about what that looked like and kind of what that road of recovery, I guess before, because it was eating, and then but how did it go from codependency to eating to substances?
So in a way, it went from codependency to substances to eating. When I got sober, that's when my eating disorder really started to emerge in that vacuum, right? People are familiar, you get sober and now you pick up something else. With the eating disorder, sorry, what was the question more specifically?
Just really, what does it look like? Because someone may not understand what that looks like, because we don't talk about it a lot up here.
Yeah, and I'm so happy to talk about it. It's such a core part of my recovery, and as you said, something that I guarantee you folks, in any AA room, you get 10, 12 people, there's probably someone with an eating disorder. So for me, something, to relate to Ryan's sermon, in a way it's about rhythms. And something that happens with eating disorders is that the rhythms are really rigid. So a routine is awesome, rhythm is awesome, but when it gets rigid, when you have to do that thing, when I have to pray 9 p.m., sitting on my knees, the exact same prayer, the Lord's Prayer, that's rigidity. And eating disorders are all about rigidity. So in eating disorder recovery, I learned flexibility with food. I don't have to eat the same food. I don't have to do it the same way. I can ballpark it, And the same thing spiritually. Once I started flexibility, I realized I had that same rigidity mindset in the rest of my life. So to be a little flexible, to take God out of the box, because routines, it feels safe. Just like there's certain foods that feel safe. I had a sponsee that was like ground beef and rice or whatever. But eventually it gets stale, it gets stifling, just like those routines can get stale and stifling. Doing the same 10th step, you got to mix it up. So I need a varied diet of food, and I need a varied spiritual diet too. And that relates to the gardening. That's one more place to find God and to find the Spirit.
And that's what I want to transition to next, because I loved to kind of back it up a little bit, when you were getting treatment, you said that you had grown up, and then when you suffered from addiction, you had all of the resources that were available to you. You said you had some high-end resources and all the things, but it didn't work until you were ready. And I think that's something that loved ones might hear, and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm just gonna throw money at this, and I'm gonna give them the best of everything. But for you, it didn't work until, one, you were ready, but then two, you literally talked about finding God in the dirt and finding your rhythm again with nothing. So you had all the fancy things at your disposal, but it was almost when you had nothing that is when you found everything. Can you tell us a little bit about finding God literally in the dirt?
Yeah. So as far as having resources for loved ones of addicts out there, there's nothing you can do if a person's not ready. I kind of believe that. If that wasn't true, I had the best treatment centers. I had the best doctors. I had I went to a world-renowned center in Houston, and it just didn't land. I didn't have the ears to see and eyes to hear. But when I was ready, anything could help. I didn't need the best therapist. I didn't need a perfect meeting. I didn't need a perfect sponsor. I could just to use a garden metaphor, composting. I could turn waste materials into recovery. As far as finding recovery in the dirt, a turning point which was about 4 months before I got sober. I was having drug-induced psychosis in San Francisco, and it was horrifying. Psychosis is a gnarly one. But I heard an important message, which was that, and it was very hellish, kind of demonic, and I realized that I was contributing to this hell I was living in, and I realized that what I did mattered, if I don't know, karma or however you want to put it. What I did mattered, and if I was creating a hell, I could create something different, and that's a really important realization for me.
And then how did you start working, like knowing that information, what action did you actually take to start changing things for yourself?
Mine was a journey of integrity. As I got further into my addiction, my integrity got further and further away. So the first thing I started doing was telling the truth. And I'm still working on that. I mean, it was one step to not tell like big bold lies. I lied and I cheated and I stole a lot in my addiction. But so just basic truth. But these days I'm still learning like emotional truth. Am I telling that? Am I authenticity? There's layers to this thing, right? But on that note, so for me it was integrity, but something I had to realize was that my core lessons are not everyone else's core lessons. My journey was about integrity. My homelessness was also about integrity, a lack of it. But that's not why everyone else is homeless. What I needed to learn in recovery and early recovery or today is not what everyone else needs to learn. So that was something I learned later in recovery.
And then now you're taking all of these things that you learned, and you're applying them to so many different areas of your life. Like I said, you started the Recovery Garden. You also we have actually one of the few in-person eating disorder meetings here at Free, which you helped start as well, which is pretty fantastic. And I also want to talk about, you bring this now into your romantic relationships as well. Can you tell people what that looks like for you and your partner, and how do you guys work your recovery together? Because I'd never heard of this until I talked to you.
Yeah. So I won't specifically claim like a particular program, but you can find it based on what I'm going to say, or you can talk to me afterwards. So I work a 12-step program with my partner as a couple. We have another couple that's our sponsors, and we sponsor other couples. It's same 12 steps, same principles, but kind of do it together.
But you also said that there's one core on the integrity piece so again, like there was one key line there. You said the one thing that you guys don't do there. Can you tell them what the one thing you don't do is?
We don't blame.
And what does that look like?
It's this thinking that if she would just work a better program, if he would just do the dishes differently, if she would just listen, if he would just like love me a little better, if he would just think I'm special. There's like information here. We don't need to discard it entirely, but it's not it took me like, I was on the 11th step, the 11th hour of our couples program, and my individual sponsor, he had told me this 1,000 times, where he was like, dude, it's not about her. It's about you. So yeah, we don't blame. It's take care of our side of the street, and just try and love as best we can. That's the romantic way of taking care of our side of the street. Is I'm just gonna love you as best as I can, and not take your inventory. And I know it's helpful because I know my partner's taking her own inventory, so that helps me not take her inventory. But even if she wasn't, you know.
I told you guys, this guy has so much to offer, and it's fascinating. So I really encourage you, either come to the Recovery Garden. It's not starting up yet. We had to take a little rest because of the winter. Do we know when it's starting back up? Did we talk to Ben?
Like end of April, maybe beginning of May.
When the
Not
snow is
certain.
done?
Yeah,
Okay, we
somewhere
have to
around
trust
there.
nature will let us know.
Mid-April, maybe, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll advertise it. But so I would highly recommend getting to know this guy, coming up and talk to him. He'll be in the cafe after. And he's also here. You can check on our schedule of when the meeting is. It's Monday night?
Mondays at 7.
Mondays at 7. And I want to close with somebody who, somebody who's out there who may still be struggling in the rhythm and they don't know where they are. They don't know if they're in a season of rest. They don't know if they're in a season of is now the time to take action? And maybe they're just sitting in that uncertainty. What piece of hope can you leave someone with tonight when they may not know what's next, and just how to find even a slightest bit of comfort in that unknowing?
Hold it all lightly. Hold it with a light hand, you know. And you don't have to see hope for there to be hope. I couldn't see hope. Yeah, I really couldn't. So if you can, it doesn't mean that there's not hope. Yeah, you just can't see it right now.
Oh, I like that. And you can borrow someone else's until you can see it. Well, thank you so much. And you are going to stick around. So can you guys please do me a favor and give Michael a round of applause?
Thank you, Michael. So do your couples shout out, on the count of 3, do they say, "We don't do blame"? No, but we should. There you go, dude. That's your tagline. Thank you, Michael. Hey, y'all, I forgot to, before we get to heartaches, that's how we end a Saturday night here at Free. But Corey did a little video for us that I meant to show y'all, just a little welcome video. I asked him to send me, and anyway, here's the welcome video from Corey.
What's up, guys? My name is Corey Latta. Some of you know me, some of you I know, and some I've not had the pleasure of meeting yet, but that's going to change. Very excited and just really honored to say that Ryan has asked me to come on board as resident teaching pastor, so I'll be with you on a semi-regular basis all through 2026. Your community, let me just say, and your mission is very near and dear to my heart and my experience. So when I say it's an honor, it really is an honor. I'll be there with you guys, getting to know you, helping to build community, and then teaching and walking alongside great leaders like Ryan and Carrie to keep continuing the mission of Free Recovery Community. So see you soon.
Yeah, that's Corey Latta. Looking forward to having you, brother. All right, y'all, the way we do close down here at Free on a Saturday is with, we start with celebrations, but then we close with heartaches. That maybe you've been carrying some burdens this week and you've kept it all in. You haven't even put words to it yet, and then you find out you don't have to keep it all in. That's why we have community. It's why we have a God who hears the cries of the people, and so that's what this time is for. If you need some prayer, some lifting up, some encouragement, we take 3 minutes for this. Again, if you're joining us online, just drop your heartaches in the YouTube comments or the Facebook comments. We'll join you there. And David's got a mic on this side again, and Saman has a mic on this side. If you're in-house, just raise up a hand and they'll get you a mic, and this time is yours.
I'm Colin, and earlier this afternoon I realized that if I lived in Iran, I probably would have gotten myself killed over the past few days because of what I'm willing to live for and what I'm willing to die for.
Continued prayers, Colin. Glad you're here, brother.
Hi, this is Jeffrey, and prayers to my mom. This is one of the few services that she's missed probably in the last year, but she's been in the hospital the last 2 days with a infection that got into her kidneys, so she's on the mend, but still kind of scary. So just sending her healing energy.
Yeah, lifting her up. Thanks for sharing that with us, Jeffrey.
Hi, I'm Heather, and please pray for my brother Sean back in Illinois. He's had to have 4 surgeries in the last 2 weeks based off a complication on a surgery he had on his stomach. And yeah, he's got a long road ahead of him, and please just pray for him. Thank you.
All right. Prayers for your brother and the family.
Hi, I'm Shantae. I just wanted to pray for my friend Amy. She and I were in recovery together, and she's home. But I've been helping her, and we're trying to get her into a better situation so that she doesn't have to relapse or worry about it.
Yeah. Lifting her up. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Hi, I'm Abby, and 2 weeks ago I had a pretty rough week, and I've been kind of going through like a depressive patch. So if you guys can just like pray for me and help me like get out of it, that would be very appreciated.
All right. She just asked for prayers from the community, so everyone's going to be lifting up Abby this week. Glad you're here.
Hi, my name is Liz. I just want to send up prayers for our friend Kay again. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer about 2 years ago. It was stable for a while, but now it's spread to her spine. So please, she's going to go through chemo again. So please send up prayers for our friend Kay.
All right. Lifting up Kay tonight. Prayers for her.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I just wanted to send out prayers for my best friend Jenny, who recently lost her mom, and to my Aunt Kathy, who recently lost her husband. Thanks.
All right, lifting them up.
Hi, I'm Jim. Just wanted to send up prayers for my friend John, who is an end-stage kidney failure. If you guys have never heard of it, it's called the Living Donor Program. He's back in Wisconsin, but if you guys have any questions on it and have anybody that has interest in, you only need 1 kidney, that would be helpful. Thanks.
Yeah.
His name is John.
Prayers for John. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Simon and David. I want to invite Josh Davidson to come on up here. Thank you all. I'm going to give this one to Josh. Josh, shall we join our online community?
If I stand there, I won't be in the.
I know. You can't
Cut
stand
my
up
head
there.
off.
But now you're just, dude, how tall? 6'6"?
5'19".
Let's see this guy. You take the first one, man. I'll take the second one.
All right. So we have Jess. I've been working through some grief around losing a dear friend over the holidays from an overdose.
Prayers for you, Jess. Glad you're here. Melody says, I'm having my second neck surgery in a year in March. The pain is horrendous. Melody, prayers for you and prayers for surgery coming up in March. Glad you're with us tonight.
All right, we have AJ. My grandmother keeps falling and breaking bones, and I moved to Tennessee from North Carolina to take care of her to prevent her from falling, but I've missed her fall 3 times in the past 3 weeks.
Whew. Lifting you up, AJ, and your grandma. Glad you're here. So, Josh, you let everyone know that you were, you got accepted into the Iliff School of Theology, where I graduated from in 2009. Congratulations, buddy. Josh here will be starting his MDiv program, Masters of Divinity program, this summer, this fall, in between.
Looks like summer.
Looks like summer?
Fall, latest.
Dude, are you ready? You're going to be reading a lot of books.
Oh, I'm ready.
You're going to get this thing so filled up with knowledge, and then you get to impart to us all the knowledge. It's going to be a beautiful time, man. What I figured we'd do is just say a prayer over Josh, so if you'll join me in praying. God, we're grateful for our friend and brother Josh, and we lift him up tonight, that you go with him in these theological studies. Keep him centered and grounded. And God, give him everything that he needs to thrive in this new academic arena and to grow closer to you, to people, to everything you would have him be about in this world. So God, go with him now and the days to come. And it's in your name we pray. Amen. Proud of you, dude. Keep going. keep us in the loop with what's happening.
Absolutely.
All right, brother. All right, we'll close with, you want to stay up here and close in prayer with me?
Sure.
Let me say a word about giving first, though. If you've been impacted by the mission of breaking the silence of addiction, the mission here at Free, well, you do need to know we are funded by your generosity, and we are so grateful for it. Truly, your giving here makes a big difference. Thank you to everyone who's given even a little or a lot. It all makes a difference. If you want to donate here at Free, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can download the app, Free Recovery Community app. It's free to download. All of our content's on there. There's a giving button on there. You can give one time, or you can set it up to do weekly, monthly, however you want to do it. We're grateful for all of it. Or go straight to the website, freerecoverycommunity.com. There's the same giving button there. And there's the giving kiosk for those of you in-house, just outside both set of doors. For those of you that still carry things like cash and check, we do still take those things here. And Josh, there is the kind kiosk just outside these doors. It's the one tippy-top system, as Carrie calls it, a safe, fun way to give. If you want to hit that thing on your way out, we are more than grateful. Thank you all so much. Truly makes a difference. Thank you. Shall we go out with a prayer? Shall we do like serenity prayer tonight?
Sure.
Serenity prayer is a good one. We could make it the we version first. I'd encourage y'all to just open up the hands. Yeah, take a minute and breathe. Yeah, let Spirit breathe in you, through you, all around you. Maybe Spirit's inviting you just to slow down, rest, remember who you are. This body of yours that's just floating around this big rock called Earth. And if you don't know the Serenity Prayer, it's on your screen and it goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. And grace and peace to you all. See you next time.